First problem, the battery seems like it's... Don't know if the battery's dead, I'm not too sure. But yeah, that's not a good start. Seems like it's got power. Let's have a look. Oh, the guy did say that it doesn't hold charge very well. Oh, actually, I think that might be the issue. Wouldn't that be nice if that solves it? So if we can... The bolt's missing on the earth lead. So let's see if that gets us out of trouble. Still doesn't feel very tight, mind you. Happy days, it was a simple fix. Oh, God, panic over. Anyway, welcome back to the channel and welcome to the first episode of a new series that I'm going to be doing called Can I Flip It? And in this series we're going to do 2 videos per car. I'm going to buy a cheap car that needs a bit of love from eBay or Facebook Marketplace and see if I can tidy it up, polish some value back into it and turn it around for a profit. So video 1 is going to be a look around the car, a quick drive of the car and talking about the faults and issues with it and how I can improve it. And then video 2, I'm just going to quite simply show you how that work was carried out and see if we can sell it and then run through the numbers. Speaking of which, I'll do that now on this one. I bought it for £1,050 from eBay. It was a nice local buy and only 20 minutes away from my house. The chap that I got it off has had it for 14 years and it's done just under 100,000 miles. He's not really used it in the past few years and as a result it's very, very tired and it does need a bit of love. It's got an MOT and I drove it home from where I picked it up from, which was about 15 miles away from my house, so it's not too bad and it all seems to pretty much be okay, but yeah, cosmetically it needs a bit of love. There's things about it that I'm going to change and hopefully there'll still be enough profit in the car once I've done that to earn myself a nice meal out or something like that. So here's when I picked it up anyway, and these are my first driving impressions. Just down here somewhere, down a cul-de-sac. Oh, it's left. And then we're looking out for a horrible old tired Toyota Celica with a missing fuel.
Hang on, another Toyota Celica.
It's not the same as the old one, don't panic.
Oh God, it's not got stickers on it.
No, it's different. It's a different shape. Turn right here. I bet you it's up there.
Is this a road?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh,
there it is, look. There it is. I don't know where you're going to park. I'll just park in front of it for now. It looks alright actually. There it is. Reversing beep, that's something a bit weird, isn't it? Initial driving impressions of this Celica. I've literally picked it up about 5 minutes ago and it started first time, which is good. It smells a little bit fusty in here, in fact very fusty, like it's been sat not used for a while. But overall I'd say first impressions, the condition's pretty good. It's definitely as described on the advert, which is always a good start. The guy seemed like a genuine type of a seller. He'd had it for 14 years. It's only had 2 owners prior to him as well, so it's got a nice ownership history, and it seems to go okay. I'm noticing that there's a little bit of a wheel wobble. Could be that the tyres are flat spotted, which isn't really a problem because I'm going to change those nasty alloys anyway. Put some nice original wheels on it. Everything works that I've tried. Both the windows are okay. The heater seems to work. I don't think the aircon works, and it's actually fairly tight on the road. It's just this wobble is not great. Need to get that looked at. It's quite nippy. Gearbox, got a 6-speed gearbox. The gearbox feels good. Clutch feels nice. The brakes are not great. I'm used to driving modern cars, so I think I always get in an old car and I always think that the brakes are rubbish, but in this they do feel like there's a bit more sponginess than I perhaps like. That might just be lack of use. It might just be that the pads and stuff are a bit dirty and they need sort of bedding in again. So we'll see how it feels when I get it back. But yeah, other than the brakes and the steering wobble, it's all good. Temperature and everything all seems fine. It came with nearly half a tank of fuel, which is always a nice little bonus. And it's got a really nice head unit that's got Bluetooth audio and Bluetooth hands-free. There's a microphone up here, so that's good. It does also have the original radio with it, but I think it'd be a shame. It's nice to have the original radio, but I think in this case it'd actually be a shame to fit it, because the hands-free is quite useful for daily driving this car, if that's what whoever buys it is going to do. It needs a damn good clean, but we'll talk about that on the walk-around video. It's obviously been sat for ages. It was MOT last year, and the MOT expires in July, I think. But it definitely wants a bloody good clean inside and out, and I think the interior will respond really well to that. There's barely any wear really on it, to be fair to it. A couple of tiny snags on the seats. And actually, on the subject of the seats, I personally think that the cloth seats in this era Toyota are far nicer than leather. The leather was never that great in these anyway, and fast forward 20 years, doesn't do the leather any favours really. So yeah, the cloth's much more comfortable and soft. Actually, in my Supra, I'd rather have cloth, but I wasn't able to option cloth, unfortunately, in that car when I ordered it. So yeah, there we go. That's the first impressions driving it. I'm not too scared. Obviously, I've got that wheel wobble thing, and the issue with the brakes being a bit soft. The windscreen's filthy, but I don't want to wipe it because I don't want to scratch it. So I'm just living with that until I can wash the car. Okay, so we're a few more miles into this drive home. I've probably done about 4 or 5 miles since that last clip, and the car seems to have really improved actually. It's the wheel wobble that I was talking about has more or less gone, so I think that the tyres were probably flat spotted, and I think a bit of warmth in them has made the flat spots disappear. And also the brakes do seem a bit better, and just everything about it really, the idling and the way that the engine's running seems a lot better. So I think just because it's been sat for ages and not really driven, it needed to wake back up a little bit. I'm going to give it a bit of an Italian tune-up as well. I'm going to make sure that I give it plenty of revs and get it cleaned out, and see how we go. It's quite nippy. It's only the 140 horsepower version, but it's actually quite nippy. The engine note's not very inspiring, to be honest. It's a little bit mashy, is how I would describe it, but it goes well. It's a really comfortable little car as well, actually. It's the kind of thing that you could daily, I reckon. It's modern enough to be usable every day. It's a Toyota, so it's going to be pretty reliable if you keep it well serviced. And actually, the design of the cabin's really nice. It's got the basic heater controls. It hasn't got the digital climate control. And in this type of car, I actually prefer that. You know, you just turn a dial to choose where you want the air to go. Everything's nicely to hand. The wiper stalks, the mirrors, and window switches. And yeah, it's just a simple, basic, comfy little car. And I quite like it. I'm very happy actually. Something that's nice about flipping these cars is you do get to drive a lot of different cars, so you get to kind of, you know, experience what these things are like. And I reckon if I was after a cheap sporty car, this would definitely be a consideration. Now I've driven one. I've had the Gen 6 Celica, Gen 5. I've had a few of the older Toyotas. I've had a Celica Supra, an MA61. I've had a Mark 1 MR2, Mark 2 MR2, Mark 3 MR2. And this is just like a typical Toyota really, early 2000s Toyota. It's a bit plasticky looking, the interior arguably hasn't aged very well, but it's just a nice functional car. Yeah, I'm feeling a lot more positive now. Something I love about buying old cars like this is I love to see what's in the CD player. Should we have a look? God knows what that is. Early 2000s metal-ish. It's a bit cheesy. Compilation, October 2008. Oh no, the stereo's died on me. Oh no, it's back on. Oh, I can't get it off now. Shit. I think that's enough of that. I have to say that I'm liking this car so far. As you can see, it's not without fault, but it's not too bad actually. I'm quite pleased with it so far. So let's have a look around it and see how we can improve it. So this is a January 2004 car, and it's a Gen 7 VVTI 1.8, 140 horsepower. These came with two engines in the UK. One was, I think, 140, and the other one was 190, so this is the lower powered car. It's got a 6-speed manual transmission, 4 seats, a nice big boot. These looked horrendous in my opinion for quite a while. But they've kind of came of age now, and I actually think that they look alright. What do you reckon? They're pretty, they're sort of from the very tail end of the era when cars were quite simple, and it's, as a result, you know, it's a nice thing to tickle around in. I'm not that sure about the styling, has to be said. I prefer the Gen 6 and the Gen 5. I've owned most of the Celicas. I've actually owned an RA28, which if you're into your Toyotas, you know that's a pretty rare car, a liftback 1977 car. But yeah, this one, I would say, it's actually quite clean on the body. I'm going to go in on some close-ups in a minute, but on the whole, obviously it does need the fuel filler cap replaced. But on the whole, it's pretty tidy. I think it's going to clean up quite well. I quite like the spoiler as well. Not all of them had that spoiler. It is a genuine Toyota spoiler. Yeah, there you go. It's a genuine Toyota spoiler. Now, I don't know if that was a dealer-fitted spoiler or whether it was something that came from the factory. I think this is probably its best angle. It looks pretty chunky from the back, but I'm just not mad on the front of it. It just looks a bit froggy. Wheels are horrible. So they do need to be changed. I'm going to put some original wheels on it. There's a few scratches around it. Yeah, the lack of love is sort of evident here. That's going to be really satisfying, getting a toothbrush on that and cleaning it all out. It's like it both sides, and also the lights are very cloudy. The bonnet's a little bit stone chipped, but I actually think think it will clean up all right. You can see these marks here where it's stone chipped and then it's gone rusty, so I'll get some silver touch-in paint and I can certainly improve that. New set of number plates always helps. Quick look around all of the wheels, so they're all pretty much the same. The tyres, horrible mismatched cheap tyres. I think it's got Uniroyal. They're all odd. One of them's a Uniroyal Rain Sport, which I quite rate as a tyre. Needs a new fuel filler cap, so that's rusted off. It's actually got the filler cap, but I don't know if it will be salvageable. I have a suspicion that the hinge isn't something that you can rebuild or replace, but you never know. I've something that I might be able to have a look into. The aerial's absolutely ridiculous. It's quite funny though. So let's have a look at the interior. I think being a 2004, and correct me if I'm wrong here, it's got a facelifted interior. So the dashboard and everything is black instead of grey. I think I think they were like 99 to 02 or something cars had a grey dash which just looked horrendous. But it's quite tidy. The dash is quite good. The door cards aren't damaged or anything. The seats are in pretty good condition. There's a bit of wear on the driver's seat there. Actually in real life it doesn't look that bad, and then obviously there's a rip there presumably where the seat belt's been chafing. Rear seats again pretty good. There's some watermarks on that left hand rear one. So I think what we'll do with the interior is shampoo it all and shampoo all the carpets. I've got a wet vac and that should bring it up quite nicely. It does smell pretty fusty. This car hasn't got a sunroof, so that's quite a good thing really on something old, because all it's going to do is leak, isn't it? Let's be honest. The seal's not sitting right. Moving inside. Gear shifter's in good condition. It's got an aftermarket stereo fitted, which actually is not a bad thing. It's Bluetooth hands-free and Bluetooth audio, so you can sync your phone up to it. The original radio is included, which is good. Now I'm in two minds whether or not to fit this. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Generally I'm a stickler for originality, and I love to have the original radio. But also with modern driving and stuff, it's just so nice to have a Bluetooth hands-free radio with you know, ability to stream Spotify and so on. What we got in the glove box? Oh, locking wheel nut. That's handy. Cubby hole. Oh, what's this? Oh, an ice scraper. Jolly good. Two little cup holders here. There's a battery thingamajig. Spare key. What's in here? Case for the stereo. Not a lot else. Yeah, I think the interior is pretty good. It should be easy to sort the interior. Oh, one thing about this car that I actually quite like, and I do mention this in the video of me driving it, I like that it hasn't got the digital climate control. The aircon doesn't work, but the simple switches are something that I love. I love to just have a knob to twist. If I'm cold, I can turn it that way. If I'm too hot, I can turn it that way. If I'm really hot, I can press that. The window goes down. Let's have a look at this 90s digital dash then. Will it start? Yes! That battery terminal is loose though, so I do need to sort it out. So there's your mileage, 99529. So just under 100,000. All idles nicely. I think the idle's a bit high, but maybe that's just because it's on cold start. Let's go and have a look in the boot anyway. I'm bored of being sat in here now. It smells fusty. First problem, boot struts needs replacing. Should be about 25 quid to sort that. See if I can prop the boot up with the with the parcel shelf. This will be fun. Happy days, sorted. Let's take you in for a closer look. Let's get rid of my stuff. The boot seems nice and clean, the carpet's in good condition. Oh, what's in here then? That all needs sorting out. God knows what that is. Any ideas? Let me know in the comments if you know. And I did hear a bit of jigging around as I was driving, so that probably explains that. All those leaves, look, that just goes to show how unloved this car's been. What have we got under here then? An original wheel. That looks like it's never been used. It's a shame I've not got a full set of those. Screwdriver. Yeah, I think it's fair to say that the guy that owned the car before me was a lovely guy, but I don't think he was that bothered about looking after it, by the looks of it. Oh. Toyota locking nut set. Interestingly enough, doesn't work. Yeah, there's nothing behind there. Oh, is that weird? Oh, it's the alarm thing. Whatever. Yeah, I love the look of that wheel. I'm going to whip that out at some point. In fact, let's do that now. Look at that, that's absolutely mint. The tyre's going to be well out of date now, but I reckon that's the factory tyre. Never used. I wish I had a full set of these wheels. Mega. Also, I've flapped the seats down. The boot space is enormous on this thing. Another quick look at the boot with the seats down, now the wheels back in there. Amazing boot space. It's actually really, really practical, surprising. That rear wiper needs some love. Alright then, let's have a look under the bonnet. I think it's fair to say that the engine bay tells a similar story to the rest of the car, and that's that it's basically been neglected. I think this would clean up okay though. It's just, I mean, cobwebs, leaves, filthy engine cover. But what I can't see is any oil leaks, which is good. And can't see any signs of accident damage. Can't see any rust. Brake lines look okay. That uni in there. At the back behind those lines, I won't focus in on it. It's a bit rusty, but the actual brake lines themselves look good. And we'll have a look at the brake discs and pads in a while. Yeah, I think it's alright. Do the obligatory engine oil test. Check for creaminess. No, it looks all good. I think these engines are fairly reliable, although my cousin had a 190 horsepower one and he managed to murder the engine. Henry, if you're watching this. The oil looks clean, relatively, so that's good. The air filter also looks fairly clean. I think it's been probably serviced not that long ago in terms of miles, but just hasn't had much use. So I think mechanically it's probably alright. The engine just wants a jolly good clean. Let's have a look at the brake discs and pads. It is quite hard to film the discs and pads on this car, but they're not in too bad condition. There's a bit of scoring on the discs, but the pads do have meat on them. I suspect that the sponginess I talk about in the driving video is due to old brake fluid, so I'm going to do a brake fluid change on it. Very similar story on the rear, just typical sort of wear that you'd expect. What One thing that I've not really mentioned is there is a lack of rust on this car. I've had a good look round it. It had advisories on the MOT for underbody corrosion, but in terms of the exterior, it's pretty good. Now I am going to get it MOT before I sell it, so I'll have a check over. But yeah, I'm pretty happy really with the rust scenario, because I know old Toyotas are prone to rusting, and this one looks pretty well preserved, and I don't even think it's been garaged. And the last thing worthy of discussion, I guess, is the paperwork. I was quite disappointed to find that it only had one key, because I thought that having one owner for the last 14 years might be a guarantee that there'd be multiple keys with it, but no, unfortunately not. But it seems like it's got a load of service history and stuff. I haven't actually read through that yet. Last thing before we recap, we'll just do a quick sample of the old exhaust note. If it starts again, of course. Right then, let's have a recap at what we've got. So, purchase price of the car was £1,050. It's cost me nothing to get it home so far, because there was actually half a tank of fuel in it, which is good. I need a second key. I need to have a look at the brakes. It needs a damn good clean. I'm going to try and source some wheels for it, because I hate those. If I can't find a set of wheels in budget, I'm going to have to do something with these, maybe just sort of tart them up with a bit of paint or whatever, but I'm not happy with the tyres on them, so either way I need to sort tyres. New gas struts, the headlights need a polish, the engine bay needs a bit of a dress up. I do need to check the oil and everything in more detail, because it's just a quick first look today. But yeah, I'm ready to crack on with this. I think I'm going to do all right. I'm going to make a prediction. I'm going to say that I reckon I can sell it for 1,600 quid. So if I can have it all done and dusted for maybe 1,300, that gives me a budget of £250. Then I'll be a few hundred quid in profit, and it's a bit of fun. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. It's something different and something that I want to do more of. So this one's a bit of a litmus test. Hopefully hopefully the structure of the videos will improve over time. But yeah, thanks for watching. If you liked it, subscribe, tell your friends, leave me a comment. I'm really trying to grow my channel. I'd be happy with 1,000 members. I'm just under 500 at the moment. So I'm not looking to be a YouTube superstar, but if I can get to 1,000, then I might be able to get a little bit of revenue off it, you never know. So yeah, thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw and you want to see more, make sure that you press the subscribe button and support me by giving a like or leaving a comment, and I'll see you around for the next video. Cheers. Wish me luck.